Hello students, welcome to the video class. Today let us learn about fiber to fabric. How fabric is obtained from a fiber. How fabrics are made by using fiber. Fiber. It is the finer part of the thread. Fiber is a thread-like structure that is spun into ropes, cloths and strings. Fabrics are made from fibers obtained from natural or artificial sources. Let us look at the various fibers and its source. Can you identify which type of fiber is this? And plant? Yes, this is the cotton plant and it gives us cotton fiber. Look at some more examples. Jute, hemp, kenaf, flax, ramie, sisal. All these are the example of the fiber, natural fibers. Now, as you have seen the examples, can you identify which type of fiber is this? This one? Try to identify these different types of fiber that you might have seen in your daily life. Now, let us learn how fibers are classified. Fibers are generally classified into two, natural fibers and synthetic fibers. Natural fibers are again of two types based on the source, that is plant fibers and animal fibers. Let us try to understand the difference between natural fiber and synthetic fiber. Natural fibers. The naturally occurring fibers that humans derive from plants or animals are known as natural fibers. Animal fibers, plant fibers are both example for natural fibers. Animal fibers are the fibers that are acquired from animals. Example, wool, silk, etc. Plant fibers are the fibers that are obtained from plants. These fibers are extracted from the plant to make fabric. Both plant fiber and animal fiber are the natural fibers. Synthetic fibers. The fibers that are made by humans using chemical substances are known as synthetic or man-made fibers. These fibers are more durable than natural fibers. Let us list some examples of synthetic fiber. Polyester, nylon, acrylic are some of the examples of synthetic fibers. Plant fiber is mainly composed of cellulose, a carbohydrate. These are most commonly used to make paper and cloth. Cellulose generates long, often highly lustrous fibers which, when prepared appropriately, can give us highly lustrous fibers. Plants including cotton, jute, flax and hemp are used to obtain plant fibers. Jute. Jute mainly grows in regions having alluvial soil, which is found in the delta regions of river Ganga and river Brahmaputra. Look at this given image. This is a jute plant. Jute fiber is obtained only from the stem of the jute plant. It is soft, shiny and long. It has a long fiber with a silky texture. And these plants are usually grown in rainy season. Dear students, here is a chart that gives us an example of various plant fibers. Cotton, kapok, flax, hemp, ramie, agave, bamboo. Fabric consists of thin strands called yarn, which in turn consists of thinner strands called fibres. So, if you are making fabric, this fabric is made by using yarn or filament. So, yarn or filament is obtained by using fibre. Fibre is the smallest element in textile. Twisted strands of fibre are called filament or yarn. Cloths are made by various methods. By using these yarns, cloths are made. Let us learn the definition of these fibre, yarn and fabric. Fibre, it is a hair-like substance that is the basis of all yarns and fabric. Yarn. Fibers that are twisted together becomes yarn. Materials made by joining these yarns through weaving, knitting or felting is called fabric. So, fibre to yarn, yarn to fabric. Now let us learn how we get fibre from animal and processing of fibre. In the previous class, when you were in 6th standard, you have learned about plant fibre, cotton. In detail, you have learned there. In today's class, let us learn how fibres are obtained from animal. In detail about animal fibre. We all know that wool is an example of animal fibre. Wool can be obtained from different animals like alpaca, sheep, goat, camel, yak. The fleece of all these animals yields wool, gives wool. Here is one more example of Angora goat. The fleece of this Angora goat is rich in fibre and this is also used to make wool, to get the wool. Wool comes from sheep, goat, yak and some other animals. These wool yielding animals bear hair on their body because hair keeps them warm and wool is derived from these hairy fibers. Wool is used to make various woolen fabrics like woolen cloths, carpets, woolen sweaters, saddle cloths, etc. For obtaining wool, sheep are reared. Their hair is cut and processed into wool. In this image, you can see how the rearing is done. It is an image showing rearing of sheep. Rearing, it is a process of breeding, feeding and providing medical care to sheep. These animals produce one or more useful products for the human beings. Now let us learn what is meant by breeding. Some special breeds of sheep are specially chosen to give birth to sheep which have only soft underhair. This process of selecting parents for obtaining special characters in their offspring is termed as selective breeding. Processing fibers into wool. Now let us learn how these fibers are processed into wool. The skin of the sheep is hairy, having two types of fibers forming its fleece. The coarse bare hair and the next is the fine soft underhair near the skin is the fleece. This fleece is mainly or the main source of fibers of wool to obtain the wool. Let us learn the various steps involved in processing of this wool. The first step is shearing. Second, scouring. Third, sorting. Fourth, dyeing. Then straightening, combing and rolling. Let us learn these steps in detail one by one. What do you see in this image? Yeah, you can easily identify that, you can understand that the hairs of the sheep, the fleece of the sheep is removed by using this machine. This process is called as shearing. Shearing is the process of shaving the thick coat of wool from the sheep's skin. Since hair is a dead tissue, its shaving does not hurt the sheep. So, shearing is a process of removing or shaving the thick coat of wool from the sheep's skin. Let us move on for the second step. The second step is scouring. Scouring is the process of removing grease, dust and dirt from the raw sheared wool. As you all know that after shearing, the wool might have got so much of dust or dirt or grease stuck to its hair. It has to be cleaned. So this cleaning process where the grease, dust and dirt from the raw wool is washed is called as scouring. Scouring is done to remove grease, dust and dirt from the raw sheared wool. In the process of scouring, the fleece that is just now you have seen that is removed is washed with detergent or alkalis in special tanks, as you can see in this picture. And as the result of this process, the grease, dust and dirt gets removed off. It gets washed off. Now let us move on and understand what is the third step. The third step is grading, or it is also called as sorting. This is the first step that is done in mill. The fleece is sorted into grades by individuals who have developed a keen sense of touch. Some special people, those who have the keen sense of touch, are employed to do this grading and sorting. They sort the fibers according to fineness, length and color. So they separate these fibers based on color, length and the fine texture. Each wool product is made from different types of fiber and the sorter divides the fleece accordingly. This is the third step where the types of woolen fibers are sorted or divided or graded. The next step is cleaning of burrs. What are these burrs? Burrs are the small fluffy fibers or the tangles that is seen in the hair. These fibers are removed. So this removing of tangles or fluffy fibers from the structure is called cleaning of burrs. The wool obtained is now ready to be drawn into fibers. So after this step, it is drawn into fibers. So these are the first step, beginning 4 steps. Now let us move on for the 5th step. After drawing into fibers, the fibers should be given the color. So to do the coloring, we go for the process called dyeing. Dyeing is the application of dyes or pigments on textile materials. Dyeing is done on fabric and wool to make them look attractive and colorful. The fibers obtained after cleaning of wool, it is turned into fibers. After it is turned into fibers, it is given the color. That is, it is made colorful by the process called dyeing. The next step is straightening. The dyed fiber should be straightened. So this process is also called as carding. The curled wool which was dyed, after dyeing the wool will be curled. So this curled wool fiber is straightened by allowing it to pass through a series of rollers. So this process of straightening of woolen fiber is called straightening. Next process is combing. When we have straightened the fiber, it would have got some tangles. We need to remove these tangles. And once again, we should give it a clear, straight finish. For this purpose, combing is done. Combing is a technique whereby fibers are passed through a series of straight metal teeth in order to lay the fibers parallel to one another. Here you can see in the image how it is combed. Then the last process is rolling. The process of folding the combed and straightened long thread like woolen structures into a roll of ball or any specified structure, making sure that no knots occur in between, is said to be rolling of woolen yarn. Dear students, till now we have learnt about the different process or the different steps involved in processing of wool. Now let us move on and learn one more important fabric, that is silk fabric. What are you seeing in this image? These are the fabrics, beautiful silk fabrics. So these silk fabrics are obtained from silk fiber. Now let us learn what is the silk fiber and how it is obtained. Silk is a natural protein fiber which is obtained from silkworm and can be used as textile fiber. There are different types of silk and silkworm. It can be differentiated on the basis of luster and texture. For example, Kosa silk, tassar silk, mooga silk, etc. They are produced by various types of silk moths. One of the common type of silk moth is the mulberry moth. Sericulture. It is a branch of agriculture. Sericulture is nothing but rearing of silkworm to produce raw silk. Rearing of silkworm to produce raw silk is called sericulture. In this process, silkworms are reared at appropriate temperature and humidity to get silk threads from cocoons. Let us learn this life cycle of silk moth. In this image, you are seeing the image of a silk moth. Here is the image of silk moth and the life cycle of silkworm. Let us understand the life cycle now. As a first stage, the female moth lays the eggs. The eggs hatch, giving rise to silkworm or larvae. As the larvae comes out, it starts eating the mulberry leaves. As it starts eating the mulberry leaf, it grows in size. During this phase, it starts shedding its skin. So this shedding of skin is called molting. The silkworm sheds the skin 4 times. And after shedding the skin, it wounds itself. It begins to spin itself in a structure called cocoon. Inside the cocoon, the silkworm grows and changes its structure, and now we call it as caterpillar. The caterpillar again moves around inside and changes to pupa. At this stage, cocoons are taken by the farmer. Silk farmer collect cocoons, and the filaments are obtained from the cocoons by the process called reeling or filature. Silk fibers are then spun into silk thread. If this is not collected, finally it will again get converted into moth. So this is the various stages involved in the life cycle of a silk moth. Let us understand with the help of this image. In this image you are seeing that the female silk moth lays the egg, and the eggs are hatched. The larva comes out of the eggs. Now you can see first image, eggs are laid and the larva comes out from the eggs and it eats the mulberry leaves. Then after eating, it will shed its skin and it becomes cocoon, and it will reside inside this cocoon, and we call it as caterpillar, and it will change to pupa. Then finally this is the cocoon, and this cocoon is collected by the farmer. Look at this given image and try to understand the different stages. This is the cocoon and pupa is present. The silkworm has changed to pupa, and now at this stage the farmers collect this and they get the silk from this. Yes, so we have learned about the different steps or the stages involved in the life cycle of a silkworm and silk moth. So female, once again let us revise. Female moth lays the eggs. So the eggs get hatched and the worms come out of the eggs and it starts eating the mulberry leaf. As it eats the mulberry leaf, it grows in size and it starts shedding out its skin. This process is also called as molting. And after molting, it starts weaving itself around a thread-like structure, thin filament, fine structure that is called as cocoon. The whole structure is called as cocoon. And inside the cocoon, it changes into the next stage called caterpillar, and the caterpillar becomes pupa. At this final stage, the farmers collect it and they process this further to obtain the silk. Here you can see how the silkworm inside the cocoon, it is trying to build up the cocoon. And as you have seen, after the cocoon is made, here you can see in this image, after this stage, finally when the pupa is formed, whole pupa is formed, it is collected by the farmers, and the farmers boil it by heating, by supplying heat or by supplying steam, and later they obtain the fiber from that. As you can see here in this image, the cocoons are subjected to heat or steam and the fibers are rolled. Here you can see the rollers. The fibers are rolled by using the machines to obtain the silk. Dear students, there are variety of silk moths which look very different from one another, and the silk yarn they yield is also different in texture, coarse, smoothness and shiny nature. Most common silk moths are the most common silk moth is the mulberry moth, that is commonly used in sericulture. Look at this given image. This is the mulberry moth, beautiful mulberry moth. This is the tassar moth. This is the mooga moth. This is M-O-T-H, moth. And this is the airy moth. These are the different types of silk moths that lays the egg. Just now you have seen it lays the eggs, and from the eggs the larva is hatched, and the larva eats the mulberry leaves and it grows in size, and then the larva wounds a cocoon around itself, and finally it becomes pupa, and pupa is taken by the farmers and the silk is obtained from this pupa. So just now you have seen, in the previous image you have seen there are different types of silk moth, and in this image you are seeing the different larva. This larva is obtained from mulberry silk moth, and this larva is obtained from the non-mulberry silk moth, maybe tassar moth or any other. So it is speaking to each other. That is, I can spin stronger silk than you. We know that mulberry silk is a stronger silk. And here another one larva is discussing with that, I can spin more ductile silk than you. So it depends on the type of larva and the type of silk moth and the larva that is producing the cocoon. It depends, the property of the silk depends on the type of larva. Here are the example of different types of larva. Mulberry larva, that is obtained, that is a baby of a mulberry moth, airy, mooga and tassar. So these are the different types of silkworm. Dear children, we know that silk is very important, wool fiber is very important, we use it. But have you ever thought, while processing this wool and silk, the people working there are facing so many problems. So these problems or difficulties what they are facing on their health is called as occupational hazards of fiber production. See here in this image you can see sometimes the sorter, you have seen when they are separating the woolen fiber based on the texture, color and all, these sorters get infected by a bacterium, anthrax. This anthrax bacteria may cause a fatal blood disease called sorter's disease. Again in this image you can see. And they may also be subjected to a lot of dust and all, and they may face so many bronchial problems, breathing problems. So the following safety measures to be followed, maybe in processing of wool or when processing the silk. The people who are working in this industry must take some safety measures, like ideal rearing houses are to be well ventilated with controlled environmental conditions. Rearers have to wear sterile gloves while handling dead worms, disinfectants and bed disinfectants. While using formalin and bleaching powder, it is advised to wear face mask and gloves. The people must wear the face mask and they should use the gloves. Proper environmental conditions, good rearing techniques, quality of mulberry leaves and races are needed to prevent or control silkworm diseases. Health education and medical supervision is a must at regular intervals in silk industry. So these are some of the safety measures that should be taken. Thank you. Now let us discuss on some questions. These are the 3 important questions that you have to write it as home assignment. First question is, define fabric. Second question, list the various steps involved in processing of wool and explain it. Third question is, draw a neat diagram to show the life cycle of silk moth. Okay children? Thank you. Have a nice day.